Hey witches, how you doing today? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Taya, and today I want to talk about Imbolc. We are in the season of Imbolc, and I sort of wanted to go through what is it, what is the celebration, and how do traditional witches celebrate Imbolc at this time of the year. So first of all, Imbolc is one of the Celtic cross-quarter fire festivals. It falls halfway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox on February 1st. Depending which text you're going by, some people celebrate it on February 2nd. I think commonly it's sort of the evening of February 1st into the day of February 2nd is kind of the traditional time for celebrating Imbolc. It can be celebrated as St. Bridget's Day. It could be celebrated as Candlemas. Sort of depends on your tradition, your culture. There's lots of other, I think Lupercalia is this time of year. I think there's like a celebration to Pan at this time of year. So again, it kind of depends on your tradition and your culture. But Imbolc is one of the Celtic fire festivals. So I do want to talk a little bit about pronunciation. So I say it Imbolc. It is spelled Imbolc. So a lot of people will say Imbolc. I don't know that that's actually incorrect. I wouldn't say that. I think it depends. It's up to you. But Imbolc is a little closer to the more traditional pronunciation of Imbolc. Let's see. It comes from, they think it comes from the word Imbolg, I-M-B-O-L-G, which means in the belly. Which again, this is the time of year in the Celtic countries who are sort of a little warmer at this time of year than those of us here in northern North America. It's a time of year when the ewes are calving, the lambs are pregnant and calving, they're lactating, and so it's lambing season. Definitely, I don't know about lambs here in North America. I don't raise lambs anymore, right? So it's a little bit of a disconnect sometimes living, especially where I live, up in Edmonton, Alberta in Canada. We're quite a bit farther north and it gets quite cold here. So the themes that we traditionally celebrate at Imbolc are the first stirrings of spring, like the lambs calving, and the return of the light. So in traditional witchcraft, the big thing that drew me to traditional witchcraft was this idea of personalizing your practice to where you live, to your bioregion. And like I said, it is not the first stirrings of spring here. Coming up on Sunday, we're going to be plunging down. The polar vortex is coming. And where I live, it's going to be minus 22 degrees Celsius on Sunday, which is minus 8 Fahrenheit. Chilly. There's no stirrings of spring right now. Just not a thing. And so sometimes this particular festival, this particular Sabbath can feel a little bit disconnected. So I've kind of rejigged it a little bit to fit more with sort of what's going on in this bioregion. So for me, this is the coldest point of the year. This is when everything sort of seems most desperate. But we know that the warmer months of spring are right around the corner, but they're definitely not here yet. Historically, this is when food stores would have been starting to run out before the spring, right? Everybody like has that big fall harvest season, and then they're storing up all their goods to get through the winter, right? February is when their pantries are gonna start to run dry. For the hunting, the animals that are left are going to be at the ends of their sort of winter cycle. So they're gonna be a little scrawnier. They're gonna be a little scarcer and a little scrawnier. Right? Because they haven't had a chance to fatten up in the spring again, and they've sort of run through their winter stores. But it's a time of hope. It's a time when we know that more is coming, right? We just have to get through this last push. It's a great time to gather with other people because, again, it's sort of that desperate time of year. And when you gather with others, you get some hope. You're not alone anymore. And again, right, acknowledging the light is starting to return, the days are starting to get a little bit longer. And again, it's a great time for making and blessing candles to represent that. So, some typical traditional witch activities that would happen at Imbolc: making and blessing candles, weaving a Bridget's cross. So this, in the Celtic lens, was very much a festival associated with Bridget, Breed, whichever region you want to call her by, Saint Bridget. This is sort of her season, her festival. And so you can weave a Bridget's cross. You can put it over your door for protection. You can, this is one of my favorites. It's you make a little straw dolly to represent Bridget. And then you make a little bed, like a little woven basket, and you put it on the hearth. And then you take Bridget around. You can introduce her to members of your family, members of your community, right? Again, gathering with other people. And then when you return home, you place her in the bed. And it is to bring, it's for sort of twofold. It's to bring fertility, right? You're almost treating her like the baby that you want to have. But it's to bring fertility. But in that vein, it might not necessarily be like biological fertility. It could be prosperity and good luck in the new year, fertility in my life in the coming year. So that's a really fun sort of tradition you can practice. Another big one is visiting holy wells at this time of year. Again, a tie-in to Bridget as the goddess of wells and waterways. Weather forecasting is big this time of year. Groundhog's Day is right around the corner. And another one that I like to celebrate out of Scotland is Cailleach's Day. So basically they say, I believe it's right the day of Imbolc, so probably February 2nd. If it's bright and sunny and beautiful out, it's a gorgeous day. The Cailleach goes out. She's going to gather up all the firewood so she can get back and hunker down and extend winter. If it's a cold and blustery, overcast day, it's not very nice. She's not going to go outside and collect more firewood. So if it's not a nice day, it means that the winter is going to be short, which is going to be over soon because she won't have enough firewood to hold out the winter any longer. And so the return of spring will come sooner if it's not a nice day. So that's a little bit of weather forecasting is a big one around this time of year, and divination in general. It's a big time for scrying with waters, holy waters, that kind of an idea. But you can do scrying with a black mirror. I mean, you can read tarot cards, whatever. It's just a really good time of year to do divination. And then finally, lustration and purification rituals. This is where we start to get into kind of that spring cleaning idea and sort of blessing and cleansing our homes. It's a great time for that kind of stuff too. So there's all sorts of different kind of traditional activities that sort of take place at this time of year associated with Imbolc. I'd like to know, how do you practice for Imbolc? What do you do? I mean, do you do anything? Some people don't. Some people don't celebrate all the Sabbats. Some people don't do them at all. I didn't for a long, long time. But the Spiral Castle tradition I'm a part of, it is part of our tradition to celebrate the Sabbats. And so I've been having a lot of fun sort of researching and seeing what goes into it. So I'd love to know what you do for Imbolc. Share with us in the comments down below. And otherwise, it's coming up. So have a great Imbolc season, and I hope it treats you well and you get some good divination practice in and maybe have some fun making Breed's bed. And that's our video for today. We'll catch you in the next one.